Starting the big countdown. 1 minute to go. Today we're going to be talking about video composition. What makes it good, what makes it bad, how do you get the best out of it, and what are some of the cool things you can do for yours. This is the Get Events Online live stream every Thursday at 11 a.m. Looking forward to chatting with you soon. Hit that chat box. Share the love out of it. You know you want it. Last minute slurp of coffee. Ooh, it's cold. And welcome to the Get Events Online live stream. I am thrilled, delighted, and happy for you to be here, and happy for me to be here. Another cracking great day here in down under Australia, Melbourne, where due to new releases we've been able to move around, which is fantastic. Hey, just to let you know, I'm Warwick Merry. I am a triple certified online presenter, certified virtual presenter, certified speaking professional, you name it, we got it, it happens. But I'm sure you don't care. What you want to know is, how do I get better at presenting online? How to become an online presenter pro, as it were? What are some of the things that we need to do? Well, today is all about video composition. The look, the feel, the vibe, the connection, as it were. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Just a nice, short, quick one. But I will be taking any questions that you've got. So hit the chat box on however you're watching this. I'm coming to you live on not Twitter, Periscope, Twitch, LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, YouTube, you name it, we got it. Crack away with the comments and we'll see what we can do to answer any of the questions that you've got. If this is something that you think you and your audience would value, why not do a watch party or share it in different areas? It'd be great for me and I'd love you to do it, but hey, that's completely up to you. So thank you for coming along here today, and thank you for those who continue to come back every 11 a.m. Melbourne time, Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time at the moment, on a Thursday where we talk about all things getting events online. So video setups. Let's have a conversation about how do we make it look good. Now there's certain things that you can't do much about. I've got to tell you, this face, can't do much about. I'm stuck with it, it's mine. Got to do with it what I can. Yes, I could put a bit of makeup on, and it's funny, some of my female friends are now using digital makeup. One of the latest updates of Zoom allows you to do eyebrows, lipstick, even a little bit of facial hair for the gents or the ladies, if you want to have that morning after kind of look. So some people are finding that really a great thing to do. Not so much. It's not the kind of thing that I like to do, but it does help with, the visage, how they look, whatever it works. But I want to talk to you about video composition. Now, let me start with a big, huge asterisk. I am not a video expert. I am not a professional videographer. I'm not someone who takes photos for a living. But what I know is what looks good on camera and what looks really good when you're having an online event that you're trying to engage. Now, I've learnt this by looking at my own setup. I've got to tell you, this used to be a massive bookshelf and it had a whole lot of books on it, and all these people were sort of putting their head sideways and they were sort of trying to find out what the book it was, and I thought, well, that's a bit distracting. And I had a lot of my little trinkets on it. I had some gifts that people had given me. I'm thinking that it made it a bit more, connecting. But all it was a little bit distracting. So I've got to tell you, getting that bookcase out of here was very, very time-consuming and a bit of a struggle. But I did it, got it out there. And so then I've just set up just a plain, I had a plant sitting on the top, had a few things in these boxes here, and still it was a bit distracting. So now I've gone for a very minimalist look, which has just had a couple of relevant things, like a microphone and a knockoff Academy Award, Logie's Award, whatever it is, just as a little piece of interest, and some coloured light. And so the coloured light is to just throw a bit of something. It's a nice backlight for me, so it helps with the framing around my shoulders, and it just sets up a nice image. And the reason I'm looking to the side here is because this is where I can see the camera that's going. So it just sets up something nice. What about you? What have you got set up? So there's a couple of things that you need to consider. And one is, of course, the rule of thirds. Let me show you what I mean. This is the rule of thirds. Now, if you notice here, I'm pretty much smack bang in the middle, but towards the top. If I was to be down here, and you've seen some people who have their laptop set up, and there's just so much headspace above them, they're not filling the screen that well. I've also chosen to zoom in a fairly tight shot. I didn't want to have a wide zoom that had too much of the bookshelf, too much of my side wall. You get a bit of parallax, so you get a weird angle look when you have the side wall as well. And by the way, I'm using a DSLR camera with just a very, the lens that came with the camera, it's an 18 to 55mm lens on the camera. So it's not specifically designed to give this blurry background, but it does actually give a nice little blurry background. I think it's referred to as bokeh, and it's what a lot of the pros will use. Now, I'm not saying you need this, but what I'm saying is consider this rule of thirds in your setup. Now, I know often I'll have slides that I might want to put into the top corner screen, and so I'll sort of, if I sit, let's say on this side here, and I take off the grid, but I'll put, say, the slide there. So you see how I'm in one third, the slide's in the other third, it balances out a bit. To be quite honest, if I was going to do this kind of setup, I'd seriously consider me sitting on this side and then having the image over here, so it just sort of sits in front of that bookshelf. I think that would probably look a little bit better. But you really want to consider this rule of thirds. And there's heaps of YouTube things out there you can look at. So in terms of structuring, where do you want to sit your rule of thirds? What can you put in each space? I know sometimes you could have your slide in the background and maybe your head in this little bottom corner down here, where you can talk to your audience, so your head's down there and the rest of the screen will be taking up the slide deck. So that's worth considering. The other thing with your composition is really considering how are you lit. So in this instance here, Donald Duck is very fully lit, but you want to consider something called 3-point lighting. And again, not a professional lighting artist, and there's plenty of them out there on YouTube who'll tell you the details. But essentially what you're having is a main light, and I have a large LED light up in that corner. I have a window on this side, so I've got some good natural light sort of coming in there. And the light behind me just throws a little bit of, as I say, a backlight for the edges. And I have a ceiling light. Now, I've got to tell you, this is my normal ceiling light. It's not a down light, it's a ceiling light with a diffuser on it. So what that means is it's spreading the light nicely. And for me, it's not too bright because I do get a bit of a shine on the old bald spot. But they're the couple of key things that you want to consider in terms of setting up your composition. How does it look? How is it? The key thing is to get rid of the distractions. Now, some people say, oh, but I like my bookshelf, my bookshelf in the background. And I'm sure you do. But if it's too obvious, if it's too... just by having it there can be exhausting to watch. So if you're doing a lot of presentations online, the key philosophy, less is more. Now, the joy with this little light, it's an LED light that I can control through my phone, so I can change colours to match the branding of whomever I'm presenting for or working with. And that's a really cool thing to do. It's just a very simple LED light bulb. I bought it at a big box store, $100 or something like that. So it's a very simple thing. So what about your setup? I'd be really interested to see your setup. So if you bang it in the comments of this video, even afterwards, I'll come back and make some observations and maybe give a bit of direction if you're after it. But it really is important to make sure that you are well lit. I cannot underestimate the importance of the lighting, but also making sure that it's the Goldilocks, not too close, not too far away, not too much in the background, but not too little, that kind of thing. Some people do really well with plants. I can't keep them alive. I did have a plant, it died, and it was actually a bit weird because it was, the bottom of the plant was in the top of the shot and out again. So I've made the decision to get rid of it. So less is more when it comes to your composition. Let the people focus on you. Let them focus on your message, because that's what's important. If you're presenting or participating in a meeting or participating in some kind of online event, you want people to hear your message and hear what you're saying, look at the gestures and the communication style that you've got. Too much in the background and too much in your composition that's annoying really will it will negatively impact the message you're getting across. I like to look at some of the TV hosts or news broadcasts and look at some of the stuff they do. These guys have been doing it for a living for an incredibly long time. They know what works. Even if it's some of the chat shows, you'll see some of the setups that they've got. You don't need to go and build this elaborate set, but if you look at the shot and the composition, how if they've got, what are the verticals, what are the horizontals, what's in the shot, how much is just a generic. So that's something for you to consider. Some speakers will have a monitor behind them that they'll put their slides on so they can talk to it. That allows them to communicate a whole lot freer without having to worry about changing slides on screen. That works really well for some people. There's other people I know who don't use slide decks at all, but they do use props, and so you've got to have enough space to get your props around. So I hope that's caused you to consider, what's your composition? How do you make sure your composition supports your message, doesn't block or get in the road of your message? If I can help you at all, please reach out. Just head over to my website, warwickmerry.com, and I'm happy to get in touch with you. Use the contact page there. It's important to make sure that your composition really does support what you're trying to say and you get that message across. Thanks so much for your company. As I say, I'm here every Thursday, 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time at this time, 11 o'clock Melbourne time. Whatever's going on or in time zones around the world, I'm here, 11 o'clock Melbourne time. Love to have your company. Join on in. The recordings will be on all the fabulous places like LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, etc., and even at my website. All right, thanks so much for your company. It's been great to have you here. You've been fantastic. I've been Warwick. See you next time.